have a conversation on an important matter that has gripped the nation over the last 2 days, which we think that it is important to get some facts straight and engage the press. Most of my staff are currently in Parliament, going through the clause-by-clause base of that agreement, because it was laid in Parliament yesterday, and the committees are working on them, and that's why you don't have most of them here. But I have a few of them here to support me in trying to let you know exactly what we are doing. We have an agreement that has been here at the Ministry of Defense for quite a while. It's been here for up to a year, which is an agreement on the defense cooperation, the status of the United States forces, and access to and use of agreed facilities and areas in the Republic of Ghana. This agreement is premised on 2 earlier agreements that Ghana signed. That is the reason why, when the agreement was coming, there was a preamble to that agreement, and the preamble spelled out exactly the locus of why the United States of America brought this agreement. And under the preamble, I will read just the last paragraph. It states, recalling the acquisition and cross-serving agreement between the government of the United States of America, represented by the United States Department of Defense, and the government of the Republic of Ghana, represented by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, signed at Stuttgart, Germany on the 13th of April, and Accra on the 28th of April, and entered into force on the 28th of April 2015. So as far as the Americans are concerned, we had signed an agreement as a country in Stuttgart, in Accra, which has entered into force on the 28th of April 2015, called the Acquisition and Cross-Servicing Agreement. And based on that, they brought the status agreement. Already has the status of force agreement called SOFA, S-O-F-A. That was signed on the 24th of February 1998 through what we call a note verbal. We exchanged note verbal, and we agreed that with the note verbal, it was an agreement. And I will read just a part of the note verbal that has been working for the past 20 years. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, I said that the new agreement, which is an enhanced defense agreement, is premised on 2 legs. 1 is the 1998 agreement, and 2, which is the note verbal, and 2, the 2015 agreement that Ghana signed to by our then Foreign Minister, Hannah Tete. And I'll show you both documents. But what did our Foreign Ministry say in the 1998 agreement? If you give me time, I will say a few things about that. And let me read. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Ghana presents its compliment to the Embassy of the United States of America, and has the honor to refer to the Embassy's Note 121 dated 24th November 1997, which reads as follows. The Embassy of the United States of America presents its compliment to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Ghana, and has the honor to refer to the recent discussion between the representatives of the 2 governments regarding issues related to U.S. military personnel and civilian employees of the U.S. Department of Defense, and who may temporarily be present in Ghana in connection with the African Crisis Response Initiative and other activities as may have be agreed upon by our two governments. As a result of these discussions, the Embassy has the pleasure to propose that such personnel be accorded the equivalent to that accorded the administrative and technical staff of the United States Embassy under the Vienna Convention and Diplomatic Relations of 18 April 1961. Immunity. And that they may enter and exit Ghana with United States identification and with collective movement of individuals or travel orders. 1998. Ladies and gentlemen, I continue with the message from the Embassy that our own people are writing. The Embassy further proposes that such personnel be authorized to wear uniforms while performing official duties and to carry arms whilst on duty if authorized to do so by their orders. And that the government of Ghana accord duty-free importation and the exportation as well as exemption from internal taxation on products, property, materials, internal taxation on products, property, materials, and equipment imported into or acquired in Ghana by the United States of Ghana in connection with their official activities. Vehicles, vessels, and aircraft owned or operated by or exclusively for the United States forces shall not be subject to the payment of landing or port fees, pilotage charges, navigation or overflight charges, or light and harbor duties whilst in Ghana. However, the United States forces shall pay reasonable charges for services requested and received. Such aircraft shall observe local air traffic control regulations. Finally, the Embassy proposes that both governments waive any and all claims other than contractual claims against each other for damage, loss, or destruction of property of the Department of Defense of the United States or the property of the Ministry of Defense of Ghana arising out of activities related to official duties, or for injury or death suffered by military personnel while engaged in the performance of their official duty. 1998. If the foregoing, the Americans are still writing to us, if the foregoing is acceptable to the government of Ghana, the Embassy has the honor to propose that this note, together with the ministry's reply, shall constitute an agreement between the governments which shall enter into force on the date of the ministry's reply. Our ministry is still writing. The Embassy of the United States of America avails itself of this opportunity to renew to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Ghana the assurance of a highest consideration. Signed, November 24th, 1997. Our ministry continues. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has the further honor to inform the Embassy of the United States that the proposals set forth in the Embassy's note are acceptable to the government of Ghana, and to confirm that the Embassy's note and this shall constitute an agreement between the two governments and which shall come into force on this date. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Ghana avails itself of this opportunity to renew the Embassy of the United States of America the assurances of the order. 23rd February 1998. So, immunity, tax clearance, death, entry with ID card, all has already been given in an agreement that was signed in 1998 by the government of the Republic of Ghana, called Status of Force Agreement. So the new agreement that we are looking at, there is nothing new in that new agreement. All the Americans have done is to copy what we already have signed to and are dealing with it. Ladies and gentlemen, the Americans also premised their argument on a document called Acquisition and Cross-Servicing Agreement that we signed in Stuttgart, Germany. Of course, you all know that this agreement is the first time that we're all seeing it. It's alien to us. It never went to Parliament. It's all alien to us. And this agreement was signed by our then Foreign Minister, Honorable Hannah Tete, on behalf of Ghana. And this is the agreement that was signed by us in Stuttgart in 2015, April 2015. In fact, let me look at the date that we signed this agreement. 13th April 2015, James C. Vechiri, Brigadier General, U.S. Air Force, Director for Logistics, Africa Command. Honorable Hannah S. Tete, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Republic of Ghana, for the government of Ghana. So we signed this agreement, and based on the two agreements, the Americans have put them together and proposed a new agreement for us to sign. When I realized that Ghana had entered into these two agreements, all I needed to find out from the Americans was, and satisfy myself, was whether what they are seeking to do will constitute a base what they are looking for. And I can say, ladies and gentlemen, that I have written reply from the Americans that it's not a base, they have not asked for a base, and they don't intend to ask for a base. So when I satisfied myself that what they were looking for was not a military base, and that they were looking for some facilities in line with this particular agreement that we have signed, I then said that it will be out of protocol and international agreement not to go ahead with this agreement after 8 months. And so we will then go ahead with the agreements. Only on two conditions. One, that we have to renegotiate some of the terms, and two, that we'll take it to Parliament before we sign it. These were the two conditions I gave them. That yes, we've already signed the 1988 agreement, we've signed the 2015 agreement, we have already caught ourselves in this net, we cannot back out because this is just a combination of the two agreements, but that I will urge them and let them know that my minister will clean up this agreement and negotiate to remove certain things and bring in Ghanaian authority into it, because everything was by their orders, their own orders. It had nothing to do with Ghana. Ghana virtually didn't have a role to play. So I insisted that it will not be fair to the people of Ghana for us to carry this and sign it in this way. So we'll have to clean it up. And so the Americans brought an 11-member team to this office. We provided a 12-member team that comprised of Foreign Affairs, Finance Ministry, Attorney General, National Security, Interior Ministry, the Armed Forces, and my ministry to form a 12-member team to negotiate in this very hall in which we are sitting down. The Americans were here, led by a general, and my team was here, and they did the negotiations. I came to open and close it. Of course, I wasn't part of it. But they did the negotiation and agreed to insert certain clauses and certain things. When we then finished in September, I wrote a cabinet memo to cabinet that this agreement we have, and we are seeking cabinet to approve of it for us to take to Parliament. Because remember, I said that if it doesn't go to Parliament, I won't sign it. And that will be the first time that these military agreements will have to be taken to the people to be determined. Remember that we had, in 1998, we signed we are going to Parliament, and there are some darkness and secrecy. In 2015, we did a similar thing by our then foreign minister. And so they put the two together and brought it for us to sign. I did clean it up, took it to cabinet. It laid in cabinet from September till last Thursday, when cabinet also approved of it and asked me to take it to Parliament. So let me make some things clear. The Americans are not looking for a base. No. The agreed facilities, and let me read what the agreed facilities are. That's what we call Annex A. The people of Ghana have been looking for what we call Annex A. I'll read it today for you. Annex A, list of agreed facilities and areas in Ghana. 1. exercise or operation support area. They call some place exercise or operation support area. So if you see exercise or operation support area, what I'm going to read is what they're talking about, which is for exclusive use of the Americans. It's located at the Ghana military base adjacent to the Kotoka International Airport. See picture 2 in the appendix. So there is a building by the Air Force Base in Accra that they are looking for. And that's why they pulled it out for all of us to see. And that is what they are talking about. A facility there for them to use, to store their things and manage that facility because their items will be there. 2, primary parking area for joint use. Ghana can use it, they can also use it. That's why they use some place joint use. Located at the Ghana military facility adjacent to the Kotoka International Airport. See picture 1. Where they will be parking their aircrafts, Ghana can also park the aircrafts there. That is where they are talking of primary parking space. That when they bring an aircraft, we should allow them to be able to park there. So we have a facility there, and then we have a parking area. United States Forces, 3, United States Forces and United States contractors may access and use a runway located at the Kotoka International Airport. See picture 1. The runway we have, we should be able to allow them to use that runway to fly and land. Because remember that in the US, they don't use civilian, the military don't use civilian airports. They have their dedicated airports. So they are saying that in the case of Ghana, we have only one airport in Kotoka. Meanwhile, they want to land there. So they are asking us permission to allow them to use the military aircraft to land at that airport through the runway. So these are the facilities they are looking for. Nothing more, nothing less. As for the issue of tax, it has been dealt with in the original agreement we have with them. We gave it out. The use of weapons, the use of ID cards, we gave everything out in 1998. So there are no newties. The issue of death, the issue of compensation, we gave everything out in 1998. It's not a new thing. The only new thing is what they are asking for, that in the fact that we are going to do 4 joint exercises with them this year, and similarly, they will continue to do that for a long time to come, and their numbers will increase in these exercises. Ubangami, which is currently taking place, Operation United Accord will be coming. We'll be training their forces in Jungle Welfare School. And then they'll be training us in what we call guided approach, which has to do with our preparedness for natural disasters, earthquakes, and floods, how to control these things. They'll be bringing a lot of soldiers into Ghana. So they want a place where when these soldiers come, they will not have to be struggling with space with the embassy. They want a space at the airport to be able to put their staff there. And so they asked for this facility. They asked for a place to park their aircraft, and they asked us to allow them to be able to land with their aircraft using the runway. So ladies and gentlemen, that is the story. There is nothing called a military base. The Americans are not building any military base here. The Americans are not bringing soldiers to come and stay here with us. They will stay as long as the exercise is going on. If the exercise will be there for 4 weeks, they will stay and do it. And they're already doing that anyway. And then they'll go back. For travel documents, we are the people who signed this note verbal, which is already ongoing. What they have done is just include what we have already agreed to, and then it is ongoing. So basically, that is the agreement we have. The difference today is that this government decided to take it to Parliament. Because the taxes we are talking about has already been given. And they don't pay taxes anyway in all the imports that they have because of what we did before in 1998 under this same constitution. So let nobody think that a government could not have hidden under the cover of security and signed tax waivers without passing through Parliament. We took the conscious decision to take this matter to Parliament even before we append our signature to it, so that the people of Ghana will decide which is the best way to go. And I think this government should be applauded for that brave decision not to hide like what others have done, but to take it to Parliament so that we will know what we have entered into. 1998, we did hide ourselves. We did the wrong thing. In 2015, we did the same thing. We were hiding. And 2018, a new government comes and says, no, we will take the agreement to Parliament. So when somebody says that, oh, it was a secret document, no secret document goes to Parliament. I wrote a memo heading towards Parliament, and each member of the 275 MPs will get a copy. They cannot call this a secret document. Never. If we wanted to hide, we will not take it to Parliament. We would have just assumed that, well, all these are being given, and so we'll sign it and it will go. But we didn't do that. We insisted to the Americans that we'll take it to Parliament. So there is nothing that is new that we haven't signed in this agreement, except the facility we are giving them at the Air Force Base and the fact that they can use the runway. And that when you give them the facility, you should allow them to control access to that facility, which I think is right. Because once we've given them the facility and they put their things, we cannot control access to that facility. How do you expect people, you've given a facility like a bonded warehouse, they put their staff there, they put their military equipment there, you say, no, give me the key to hold, I will control it. Of course, it is just normal that the person who you have handed over that facility to and he has put his things, they would control it. So I want to thank you very much for coming. I am open for clarifications. If there's any other question that somebody wants to ask, I'll be very happy to answer that question. But that is exactly what the situation is. Parliament is currently considering the agreement, and there's nothing to it. What happened was people got it wrong. People thought it was a base and got it wrong. And it brought this whole brouhaha. There's nothing new to it. Ghana is not the only country that has signed it. Senegal signed it on May 2nd, 2016. Kenya has it, Nigeria has it, South Korea has it, Spain has it, UK has it, France has it. Most countries have it. They have it with over 52 countries. We are just part of the number of countries that they have proposed these things to. They will have it with Togo, they will have it with Gabon as the next phase. So it is not about military base. It's not about Ghana being so attractive that they want a military base. It's not true. We have two agreements with the Americans in terms of defense cooperation. One was signed on the 24th of February, 1998. The other was signed in April 2015 by our then foreign minister. And that the agreement I saw did not make the idea of consulting Ghanaian authorities in giving out orders as part of that agreement. For example, in the original agreement, it was there that if you have a gun, you can carry a gun if given out by your orders. And that is what is captured in the 1998 agreement. That once they give out orders, they can carry a gun. I insisted that, no, you have to consult the appropriate Ghanaian authorities, which in this case is not my ministry, but the Interior Ministry. Because the Interior Ministry is the one that gives a license for you to carry a sidearm in Ghana. That is a major departure from what was placed in front of me. Two, that in the issue of a license, when you have a license to drive, you must consult the appropriate Ghanaian authorities. In this case, Ministry of Transport, DVLA. It's not my ministry. So what I'm trying to say is that the issue of tax exemptions, you needed to consult the appropriate Ghanaian authority, Parliament and Ministry of Finance. So in all that I sought to do was to ensure that the Americans consulted the appropriate Ghanaian authorities. That did not find its reflection in the original agreement. And the original agreement is not just this one, but the draft that they brought to my office. And the draft of that one was based on this agreement and the agreement, 1998 agreement, and the agreement that Honorable Hannah Tete signed in Stuttgart, Germany. We had to clean it up to allow the Ghanaian authorities to have a say in what happens when the Americans are operating. That's the difference. The minority completely got it wrong. That's the first thing. what we have always said is that this year alone, the Americans are spending over $20 million of their taxpayers' money in supporting the armed forces. I've never said we are signing because of that. There is nowhere in the agreement that says sign because of money. So they got it wrong. Secondly, there is no big difference between the 1998 agreement plus the 2015 agreement and what we have brought before Parliament. That were signed by the NDC. Exactly. They did attract terrorists into Ghana. Where were those particular security experts? They didn't see anything wrong when those things were signed. Why were they not saying it before? Why are they not criticizing the NDC government for signing secret documents when the people of Ghana didn't even know? Between the two governments, who is more responsible? Absolutely. The one that is taking it to Parliament for all of us to know that we have these agreements, or the one that secretly did it? I leave it to the people of Ghana to judge. And I want the security experts to have every side of the picture before commenting. They don't have these documents. I believe so. The majority of them don't even know that these documents exist. Then people will just wake up. They don't know the two sides of the coin. They look at one side, they start commenting. Now, today, I am saying to you that get these documents and read them and ask questions why Hannah Tete signed this without bringing it to the people of Ghana. It's like Gigmo 2. At the blind side of the people of Ghana, why do you go to sign? And the Americans base their preamble on this document that you have signed with us, so we are bringing a different agreement. You have also signed. If these documents were not there, I don't think the Americans would have based this agreement on this. They may have started from a lower angle, but they are starting from a higher angle because we have signed the original two documents. Staging and deploying forces doesn't constitute a military base. In fact, we can stage and deploy forces in Bondasi. It's not a military. Kita, it's not a military base. As long as a vehicle can fly, a vehicle in this sense, the aircraft can fly to say Tamale, they can stage and deploy forces there. What they are trying to let you know is that you must have an agreement such that if Americans are bringing 100 soldiers, 200 soldiers, they can land in Ghana and deploy them. You are bringing 100 soldiers to come and do training at Achansi. But in the agreement, you don't have a situation where they can bring these 100 soldiers and deploy them to come and train with the Ghanaian soldiers. So let's wash our minds off from the fact that it is about bad things. No, it's about cooperation between Ghana and the US. Because any time these soldiers are coming, they will have to come and stage them in Ghana and deploy them to go to the field. So what they are saying is that I want you to have an agreement where I can stage my soldiers and deploy them, because they deploy them on orders, to go to Bandasi and train with the Ghanaian soldiers, to go to Achansi and train with the Ghanaian soldiers, to be able to have to manage disaster. You know, don't let us look at peacetime. God forbid if there's a war time, for example, and the US decide that, or there's a disaster in Ghana like Haiti, and the US decide that they want to come and stage forces and deploy, and they don't have this agreement, how are they going to stage the forces and deploy? Because this is a military agreement, it's not a civilian agreement. So when, for example, there is a natural disaster in Ghana today, and you don't have an agreement that can allow the US to come and land and deploy soldiers, how are they going to do it? So staging soldiers and deploying them is not tantamount to military base. It's to enable them to take an action that will be beneficial to us as a country. And remember that whatever they are going to do should be within the confines of this agreement. And there's nothing in this agreement that says that America can fight a war using this agreement. No. Attack an enemy using this agreement. No. There's nothing like that. So I don't know where all this is coming from. Secondly, in military agreements, it is a year-by-year thing. Today we'll have, this year we're going to have 4 series of training, bilateral trainings with them. Next year it may be a different thing. The next year it may be a different thing. For example, this year and next year they're going to give us an APC. Maybe the next year it will be a hospital, level 2 hospital. Maybe the next year it will be another plane. You never know. So they cannot put different benefits into this. What they tell you is that both nations will benefit with mutual understanding and training capacities that they are going to do here. What I'm just saying to you is to point out to you that US is a partner That benefit I'm talking to you is just to let you know the US is a partner and not a foe. So this year alone, they are giving us a grant of over about $20 million for us to use to equip our armed forces in terms of capacity, in terms of training, in terms of that, in terms of peacekeeping. That's all that I say to you.
So I'm establishing that 20 million is part of that.
I'm saying that we are already benefiting from the US and we'll continue to benefit from the US because we have an agreement with them and we will benefit from each other. We train them, they train us, and they do it in Ghana, they don't do it in the US. And so when their soldiers are coming here, they expect that we'll give them some little benefits on ability to be able to move within. Did you ever know the US soldiers were here doing training and they did 3 different trainings in Ghana? Do you ever see them? You will not know. So I can assure the people of Ghana that after this agreement, you will not even know the US soldiers are in Ghana. Because they are confined. They are not like civilians who move around in town. They move by orders and they are confined. So they come and do training for 2-3 weeks and they go back. It is when you have a problem like disaster that you will see them come to help you because of this agreement. That's why you need friends. God forbid if somebody were to attack us, and because of this agreement, they will assist us. That's all that it means. That when we have a disaster, we have something we can say, oh, but this agreement, so you have the responsibility to come and assist us with equipment, with vehicles, with this. It's to our own benefit. That's why countries like Senegal, Nigeria, and Co, they don't hesitate signing. They never even looked at it to clean it up. They sign it immediately because the benefit is enormous. We are lagging behind. I don't want to talk. This is national TV, but I can tell you we are lagging behind now. Look at Rwanda after 1994. See what is happening in Rwanda. The original document did not have a lot of input from the Ghanaian authorities, like DVLA, like Ministry of Interior, like Ministry of Finance. But if you see that the appropriate Ghanaian authorities, we have to bring it to ensure that whatever they wanted to do, they will consult with the appropriate Ghanaian authorities. Unlike the 98 one, the tax waivers were given. They did not consult Ministry of Finance. They could carry guns. They did not consult Ministry of the Interior. They could they could come into Ghana with an ID card. They did not consult Ministry of Foreign Affairs. But we are insisting that in doing all this, they must make sure they consult the Ministry of the various authorities in Ghana. Secondly, the note verbal was between the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Embassy of the United States of America. Note verbals are seals. They signed with a seal. So the Ministry of Foreign Affairs represented Ghana at that time. So whoever was the Minister of Foreign Affairs at that time is the one who authorized the note verbal and said that whatever the Americans have proposed, they agree. And that it is tantamount to an agreement. 2, Hannah Tete signed the 2015 one. After that one, the signature is there. And we can leave these documents for you to have if you don't mind. It is that because of what he said the NDC did, all these military secrets now in this agreement have become public knowledge. If they hadn't done that, I'm not sure these agreements would have all come out. But today, we have opened ourselves so much so that everybody will read whatever agreements we have on the internet. Even agreements that the NDC thought were secrets and they were hiding today because of what they did, today is now out. And you can take your time and read the 1998 one and compare to this and see whether there's a difference. They just lifted the 1998 one plus this one and decided that we should sign. And something that you have already signed, then you say you won't sign. On what basis will you say you don't sign? The best you can do for this country is to clean it up, and that's what we did, and take it to Parliament so that the people will know what is going on. Because the president is a president who will not try to hide anything from the people of Ghana. Every international agreement, we'll take it to Parliament. We will not do what they did.